All right, they're the Freeze Frame Video Kids on the move. Special thanks to Eve Brinker and Jimmy Fisher, who'll be helping out this year. Freeze Frame Video Productions. Very shortly, we will be airborne to bring you the second annual Daytona Harley-Davidson Offshore Grand Prix. For Chicks Beach Offshore F141, it's a 29-foot fountain. Gino Marone is the driver. Mark Kowalski, the throttle man. Gino from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Mark from Medina, Ohio. Powered by one 500 horsepower Mercury inboard. Lots of competitors in Factory 1, some 12 competitors in all. Typhoon Racing, My Happy Place, Velocity VR1, Mutual Fun, Patriot Offshore Racing, Team BRE Activators, SuperboatUSA.com, Offshore Addiction, Flashwave, and H2O Motorsports. Of course, we're watching Chicks Beach Offshore, a highly competitive Factory 1 class. Little flying going on down here in Daytona Beach. Chicks Beach Offshore. Let's go on board. Gino Marone and Mark Kowalski. Water's not as bumpy as last year. Factory helicopter shot, Chicks Beach Offshore. All right, let's go now with Patriot Offshore Racing, F177, the 29-foot fountain. Curtis Watkins, the driver. John Dames is the throttle man. Mercury powered, 500 horsepower inboard. Patriot Offshore Racing. Viper Marine, the owner of this fountain. Other crew members include Ronnie Skimmer. This boat took a second place in St. Cloud a couple of weeks ago. Special thanks to Competitive Edge for the maintenance on the boat. On board Patriot Offshore Racing. Patriot Racing. Curtis Watkins and John Thames. Here's one of the Rindle boats. Patriot goes by. Nice jump there. As we said, the waters are not as bumpy as last year, though. They're a little rock and rolling going on here in Daytona. It's SuperboatUSA.com, a 30-foot superboat. Mercruiser powered, won 500 horsepower to inboard. Jason Muller, the driver. Edgar Simmons is the throttle man. Special thanks to the Acapulco Hotel Resort for the accommodations here in Daytona Beach. Edgar Simmons, the owner of Superboat, would like to give a special thanks to the hotel manager, Sidney Sloan. Jay Muller, by the way, has a new Supercat coming out by the end of the year. Of course, this is a 30-foot superboat built on Long Island. Top of the pack, SuperboatUSA.com. Uh-oh, there's Patriot almost coming in contact with SuperboatUSA.com. A collision, near collision anyway, but they seem to have gotten out of it. Patriot almost coming in contact with SuperboatUSA.com. But everyone is okay. Patriot on the outside, SuperboatUSA.com on the inside as they go around the turn. Let's go now with PropcoPropellers.com. F-190, 28-foot Warlock, Mercury-powered. Michael Milliken, the driver. Steve Wessinger, the throttle man. They're both from Waco, Texas. PropcoPropellers.com. On the inside, oh, there's Sherwin-Williams and Outlaw A. Coming a little close, but no problem. David Carruth, the owner of this 28-foot Warlock. David Carruth of BC Enterprises. PropcoPropellers.com. There on the inside, there you see Velocity VR1. VR1 and Propco in battle here going on in Factory 1. There's VR1 on the outside, Propco on the inside. As they go around the turn. Propco, VR1 in the middle, and Realize Gain on the far outside. PropcoPropellers.com, VR1, and Realize Gain as they go into the turn. We're going to go with VR1 now. Velocity VR1. It's a 28-foot Velocity Mercury powered. Bob Spitulski is the driver. Scott McCormick is the throttle man. They're both in Florida. Mercury powered. Sponsors include Rue and Ziffer personal injury attorneys. And special thanks to Carl and Ty from the Daytona Speed Park for their support. Now, Throttleman Scott McCormick has set 2 speed records in the past, and he's going to try for a 3rd this time around. By the owner of this boat, Mr. Steve Stepp. Other crew members include Jimmy Spitulski, John Spitulski, and Mike Martinstein. We're all from Orlando, Florida. Top of the pack in Factory 1, Velocity VR1. This boat took a first place in St. Cloud. There's Activator, F11 Activator. VJ Mars, the driver. Mark Schnepp is the throttle man. 26-foot Activator. It's Mercury powered, 500 horsepower inboard. Lots and lots of competitors in Factory 1, 12 in all. Boats like Flashwave, Offshore Addiction, SuperboatUSA.com, Typhoon Racing, My Happy Place, Mutual Fun, Chicks Beach Offshore, Patriot Offshore, and a number of others. Highly competitive Factory 1. F-152 Offshore Addiction. It's a 28-foot Warlock. Driver is Ryan Beckley. Lance Hendrickson is the throttle man. Mert Cruiser powered, 500 horsepower inboard. Mr. Thomas Chesley, the owner of Offshore Addiction. Running slightly ahead of Offshore Addiction is Typhoon. Sponsors include Addictive Water Sports, ZEI, Mr. Maintenance, Midas from Rochester, New York, Kids Wish Network, South Bay Temps, and Accurate Auto Tint and Signs. Other crew members include Mike Gasparino, beat Chesley. Kid Crew Thomas and Alicia Chesley from Zephyrhills, Florida. Here's Typhoon on the outside. Typhoon, and on the inside, Offshore Addiction. They are battling in Factory 1. Flashpoint slightly ahead of those two boats. They're Offshore Addiction and Typhoon on the outside. They are battling in Factory 1 here in Daytona Beach at the second annual Daytona Harley-Davidson Offshore Grand Prix. First APBA race of the season. And Freeze Frame Video Production is certainly proud to be a part of it. Ryan Beckley is the driver aboard Offshore Addiction. Lance Hendrickson, the throttle man. Ryan Beckley, of course, the owner-operator of Kinetic Animation for all your vinyl and graphics needs. Nice job there by Lance Hendrickson, throttle man. He's from Riverside, California. Ryan from Sarasota. Let's go on board. All right, back to a helicopter shot. On board Offshore Addiction. Little rocking and rolling here in Daytona Beach. There's Typhoon and Flash Wave up ahead. It's 1 and 2. Flash Wave and Typhoon in Factory 1. First and second place. Typhoon racing a 26-foot Kryptonite Mercury-powered Glenn Murray is the driver. Randy Schluss is the throttle man. Typhoon Racing. Crew members include Rich Asman, Jimmy Welch, Glenn Helwig, Mark Aziz, Brett Greiner, Big Eddie, Jack and Diane, and Bob Meyer. Also special thanks to Kryptonite Powerboat for building a superior boat and being a factory sponsor. Laura Gifford for being the team's best fundraiser. And Meriden River Boat Club for all of its support. Typhoon Racing, your 2000 world champion. And a little bit of history on this boat. They've had 10 first place finishes, and they were 2 times Northeast Divisional champs. Typhoon Racing, also special thanks to some family support, Chris and Donna Schluss, and Martha Shelby, Christian, Karen, Carol, and Paul Murray. In second place, Typhoon Racing, F1 Tuna. All right, Typhoon on the outside, Flash Wave on the inside. Typhoon and Flash Wave battling there in Factory 1. Typhoon going off to the right, but we're going to go with Flash Wave on the inside, F148. 29-foot Warlock. David Rem is the driver. Jim Scherer is the throttle man. Mercury powered 500 horsepower. Flash Wave. Now, the offseason brought a new family to Flash Wave. A new driver and world champion David Rem has lent his incredible talent to the team. David plans on a repeat of the 2001 World Championship in 2002. Jim Scherer, Throttleman, sees his second place finish in the Worlds become #1 this year. I'd like to see that. And David's father, Dwight Rem, is transporting the boat to 15 races this year, beginning with the Pro Series in Daytona. The Flash Wave team, sponsored by CalDiet.com and Americash Home Loans, will be running all Pro Series and Pacific Offshore Series races. There's Team Velocity on the outside, your leader in P3. Team Velocity. Flash Wave currently in second place. In Factory 1, always runs well. David Rem from Placentia, California. Jim Scherer from Whittier, California. A lot of races in store for Flash Wave Racing Team this year. Offshore Addiction now coming into the picture. Offshore Addiction around the turn. On the outside, Flash Wave. Uh-oh, Typhoon is down. Typhoon out of the race. That means Flatfoot eliminated. Calm waters here in Marathon, Florida. But as they go into the turn, you will see them flip right over and come back up once again. Right side up. There they go, right over it. 360. The hatches open up, but they are okay, and they are fine. How sweet it is, doing a 360 barrel roll, going a little too quickly into the turn. But everyone seems to be okay, and that is the important thing. Let's see that again in slow-mo. There we go, beginning to flip over. There you see a 180 and then a full 360 as it is upright once again. Hatches open up, but no major problems. And one more time. All right, we're going to go to the F1 start, Factory 1 start. We got a ton of boats there. We've got Patriot, Offshore Addiction, Flash Wave, Mutual Fun. We also have Typhoon Racing and Propco getting ready for the green now. And we've got the green flag here on the Factory 1 start here, Marathon Offshore Grand Prix. And we got Velocity VR1 going to the immediate lead, followed by Patriot and Propco with Mutual Fun back there as well. There's VR1 Velocity. And there's Patriot. Patriot Racing. And Mutual Fun. So we got the Velocity, Mutual Fun, Patriot, and Propco. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the early moments of this race. Velocity, Mutual Fun, Patriot, and Propco. Boat's getting a little close there, but no problem. Calm waters here in Marathon, Florida. Patriot, Propco, Mutual Fund, and back there on the outside, but your leader right now by a close margin is Velocity. There you can see Velocity on the far outside. Velocity, Patriot, Propco, and Mutual Fund. Around the turn. Offshore Addiction coming in on the inside. Offshore Addiction also in the mix. An Activator all the way there, back there. Once again, Velocity. Propco goes into Patriot. We got a major collision here as Patriot spins around and hits Offshore Addiction as well. Let's see it again. As we go around the turn, there is Propco getting close to Patriot and collides with Patriot. And we've got one occupant out of Propco in the water as we see Patriot spin around and hit Offshore Addiction, and Patriot itself now begin to do a 360. We've got a major mishap here on the first turn here in the Factory 1 start. We'll tell you more about that occupant out of that Propco boat in a moment. Let's go on board now as it looks for the Patriot Racing team. Going into that first turn. Propco on the right side. On board Patriot with Curtis Watkins and John Thames. In Propco, we've got David Carruth and Steve Wessinger. Let's listen. Major collision as Patriot spins around, but as you can see, Curtis Watkins and John Thames, they are okay, and they're trying to figure out what just happened. What happened was they got sided by Propco, as one occupant in the Propco boat is out of the boat. Let's see that again. They go around the first turn one more time. Patriot going into Offshore Addiction, spins around, but they are okay. We understand that Angel 1 is en route to the scene. One occupant and Propco out of that boat. We'll give you an update in 1 minute. In the meantime, let's go with Flash Wave, a 29-foot Warlock. And David Rem and Jim Scherer, driver and throttleman aboard this 29-foot Warlock Flash Wave. Took a checkered flag in Daytona. Now David's father, Dwight Rem, is transporting the boat to 15 races this year. Beginning with the Pro Series in Daytona, the Flash Wave team, sponsored by CalDiet.com and Americash Home Loans, will be running all Pro Series and Pacific Offshore Series races this year. Flash Wave. David Rem, the driver, Jim Scherer, the throttleman. They're from California. Flash Wave. There's Wild Rose right ahead of Flash Wave. There's Activator coming up, that green boat on the outside. There's Activator on the outside. Activator, it's a 27-foot Activator with B.J. Marr, the driver, and Mark Schnepp, the throttleman. They are national champions in Factory 1. Activator. Mercury powered, 500 horsepower to inboard. B.J. Marr and Mark Schnepp aboard Activator, driver and throttle man. Mark from Coram, New York. B.J. from Pennsylvania. All right, let's go now with Factory One's Velocity VR1. 28-foot Velocity Mercury-powered. Bob Spitulski is the driver. Steve Kildall, the throttle man. They're from Florida. Bob from Oviedo, Florida. Steve from Sarasota. By the way, Steve is the owner of Creek Marine in Sarasota, Florida. Also the owner of Scott Free Racing, which we're going to cover in a little while. By the way, we just got a report that Steve Wessinger from that Propco boat is being cared for. The Angel One rescue team with Jim Poplin arrived, and they are taking care of Steve, and we understand that he is going to be okay. Once again, Steve Wessinger from the Propco boat in that incident we saw a few moments ago is going to be all right. Now, the owner of Velocity VR1 is Scott McCormick. At this point, Velocity VR1 dominating the field here in Factory One. 28-foot Velocity. Bob Spitulski and Steve Kildall on board. Driver and throttle man. Velocity Powerboats, by the way, is an official series sponsor. And the other Velocity, Team Velocity, and the P3 class with Pepper Ernest is also doing very well right now, as is Velocity VR1 here in Factory One, dominating its class. Bob Spitulski and Steve Kildall. Beautiful, clean, green water here in Marathon. You can see the bottom. Beautiful Florida Keys. Velocity, your leader in Factory One. All right, there's Factory One's Offshore Addiction, a 28-foot Warlock with Michael Milligan, the driver, Lance Hendrickson, the throttle man. It's a Mercruiser powered, 500 horsepower Mercruiser inboard. Thomas A. Chesley, the owner of Offshore Addiction. This boat took a third place in Daytona earlier this year. Crew members include Mike Gasparino and Pete Chesley. Also Thomas and Alicia Chesley. Offshore Addiction. Sponsors: Addictive Water Sports. We got ZEI, Mr. Maintenance, Midas from Rochester, New York, Kids Wish Network, South Bay Temps, and Accurate Auto Tint and Signs. Offshore Addiction in Factory One. There's Midas, one of the sponsors. Offshore Addiction, top of the pack in Factory 1. Round the turn. Now we believe that if this boat, Offshore Addiction, stays where it is or finishes well, it could move into first place in the national point standings because Propco, who did very well, as a matter of fact, they got a checkered flag in Daytona, is out of the race here in Marathon, and Flash Wave is having problems as well. Flash Wave was also right up there in Daytona, so a chance for Offshore Addiction to move into first place in the national point standings. There you can see the damage sustained when it was hit by the Patriot Team racing boat there, and an amazing escape by the Offshore Addiction racing team as it got out of that collision earlier in this race. We saw Propco and Patriot. And it is not slowing them down at all. Offshore Addiction. There's Typhoon Racing F-129 is Mercury powered. Glenn Murray, the driver. Randy Schluss is the throttle man. They had problems in Daytona. They're doing fine right now. Typhoon Racing. Randy Schluss, the owner. Crew members include Rich Asman, Jimmy Welsh, Glenn Hellwig, Mark Aziz, Brett Greiner, Big Eddie, Jack and Diane, and Bob Meyer. Special thanks to Kryptonite Powerboats for building a superior boat and being a factory sponsor. Laura Gifford for being the team's best fundraiser, and Meriden River Boat Club for there's Kinetic Animation on the inside and Typhoon Racing, and then on the far outside we got Bacardi Silver. Bacardi Silver. Typhoon Racing for 2000 World Champions. Glenn Murray and Randy Schluss, driver and throttle man. Currently in second place in Factory 1, Typhoon Racing. Nice driving there by Glenn Murray, Randy, throttle man, both from New Jersey. Cardi Silver on the far outside and the leader, the overall leader in this race. Cardi Silver cranking around this course. Typhoon Racing on the inside. Special thanks to family members, including Chris and Donna Schluss, Martha Shelby, Christian, Karen, Carolyn, Paul Murray. Brand new boat, High Energy Racing. It's an activator, 27-footer. Michael McCarley's the driver. Mark Kowalski, the throttle man. Mike from Maryland, Mark from Ohio. New boat, High Energy Racing, Factory 1 class. Mark Kowalski, the owner of this 27-foot activator. Here in the background, the 7-mile bridge, which celebrates its 20th anniversary. And there you see many, many spectators on the bridge watching this race. High Energy, we believe that High Energy is in 4th place right now. The leaders are Velocity VR1 in 1st, Typhoon in 2nd, Offshore Addiction in 3rd, and then High Energy, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 in Factory 1. There's Chicks Beach in Factory 1 running well right now. Chicks Beach Offshore. 29-foot fountain, Gino Marone is the driver. Luke Dickey is the throttle man. Also ran well in Daytona earlier this year. Mercury powered, 500 horsepower inboard. Chicks Beach Offshore. We have an onboard camera on board Chicks Beach. We'll go on board in just a moment. Many, many spectators along the 7-mile bridge there in the background. Chicks Beach Offshore likes to thank one of their sponsors, Aflac Insurance. Spectator boats lining the course. Nice driving there by Gino Marone. Lou Dickey, the throttle man. Gino from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Lou from Tennessee, Cordova, Tennessee. Calm waters here in Florida.
Stay in it. Got it. So fucked up start. They ain't on it yet. Slow down, slow down. Take the outside, take the outside. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Is it a, have we started? Oh no, but I'm out of flag still. Is it yellow? Go, go, go. Time to separate the same from the insane, baby. that. Green. Got it.
On board Chicks Beach Offshore.
Son of a bitch. Told you she's loose. Bring them in just a touch. Just a barely, a half a mark. Got it. Well, this might be like right here.
Top of the back, Chicks Beach Offshore. Boat Harwich Concrete. It's a 35-foot fountain, mercury-powered. Mark O'Duggan, the driver. Christopher Wickstrom is the throttle man. Took a third place in Daytona earlier this season. Harwich Concrete. Chris Wickstrom, the owner. Mercury-powered, 2 500-horsepower inboards. Currently in first place in Factory 2. Harwich Concrete. Let's go on board with Mark O'Duggan and Chris Wickstrom. Other competitors in Factory 2, Let's Play Racing, Snap-on Talking Tools, Sonic Racing, Total Marine, R&S Offshore Racing, Herbert Racing, and Team Danzig. But Harwich Concrete, number 1. Mark O'Duggan at the wheel, Chris Wickstrom on throttle. Seven-mile bridge. Second stop for the APBA on its Pro Series 2002 tour here in Marathon, Florida. Number 1, Harwich Concrete. Number 1 in Factory 2. All right, coming up is Team Danzig now. Team Danzig going along there, the 7-mile bridge. Team Danzig, a 38-foot Danzig, mercury-powered, 2 500-horsepower inboards. Doug Valentine at the driver. Mike Stancomb is the throttle man. Second place in Daytona earlier this year. Fairly calm waters here in Marathon. Now the Donzi factory sponsored F2 is jointly managed by Steve Simon, VP of Sales, and Vice President Nick Miller, both from Donzi headquarters. This year, Donzi has made a real commitment to return to its racing roots, that according to Steve Simon, and he says we are really pleased with our results for all of the races we've been in to date, and we're confident that the Donzi will run out in front. Currently in second place right now, and took a second place in Daytona earlier this year. Team Donzi. Doug Valentine and Mike Stancomb, driver and throttle man. All right, now we're going to go with Factory Series 2 R&S Offshore Racing. R&S Offshore Racing, a 38-foot formula. Harrod Richardson is the driver. Jack Storley is the throttle man. Harrod from Franklinville, New Jersey. Jack from Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. Mercruiser Power 2 500 horsepower imports. R&S Offshore Racing, F2. There's Fury on the outside. Fury. Battle here in Factory 2 class. Fury and R&S Offshore Racing. Fury in Super V and R&S Offshore Racing in Factory 2. Fury on the outside, R&S on the inside. Fury a 30-foot Phantom. Steve and Ray Delaney on board, driver and throttle man. R&S Offshore Racing F219. It's a formula 38-footer. Around the turn, R&S Offshore Racing. Harrod Richardson and Jack Storley. Spectators along the 7 Mile Bridge. Great vantage point for viewing this race. 38-foot formula. Mercruiser Power 2 500 horsepower inboards. Carl Seda is the driver. Tom Caruso is the throttle man. Carl is from Bayshore, New York. Tom from Stamford, Connecticut. 38-foot formula. There they are. Carl and Tom doing a fine job aboard Total Marine Racing. Took a 4th place in Daytona a couple of weeks ago. This 38 Formula owned by TCS Motorsports. You're watching the 2000s. As we said, it is Mercury powered. Special thanks to Donzie Marine, Steve Simon, Doug Valentine, and their entire crew. Also special thanks to Jim Caldwell. Sponsors: Snap-on Talking Tools, AC Delco, Hot Knots, Mercury, also Chaco Motorsports, and Myco Trailers. Snap-on Talking Tools, top of the pack in Factory 2. Other crew members: Robert Mason, Daryl Armstrong, and Kevin James. Wilma Ross, the driver. Brian Ross, the throttle man. The other Donzie's in 2nd place right now. Sonic Racing, Dennis Hennessy is the owner. It's a 36-foot Sonic. Mercruiser powered, 2 500 horsepower inboards. Dennis Hennessy is also the driver and throttle man. Patrick Zach is the navigator. They're all from New Jersey. Mercruiser powered, 2 500 horsepower inboards. Calm waters here in Marathon, Florida. Second national race of the season for APBA, and of course freeze frame video intends to be at every national APBA race this year. Of course, we've mentioned this before. We'll mention it again this year. Freeze frame video production providing the DVD format, which we will put these races on, all present races, of course all past races as well, in addition to, of course, our conventional VHS format. Concrete block now, F257 with Marco Duggan and Chris Wickstrom. Number 1 in Factory 2. We're going to take Harwich to the finish. They know it. They're number one in Factory 2. The victory sign. Harwich concrete block, number one in Factory 2, 35-foot pound. Slowing down. Conditions are rough. We're going to go with the Factory 1 start. The boat's already beginning to spread out, waiting for the green. And in Factory 1, we have activator H2O Motorsports, Patriot Offshore Racing, SuperboatUSA.com, Velocity VR1, Treadwell, Flash Wave, Radioactive Chicks Beach, Typhoon Racing, Full Tilt, and High Energy Racing. And we have a green here at the Cape Cod Rendezvous, the third stop on the APBA Pro Series Tour. Everyone off to a great start. There's Offshore Addiction on the inside, Offshore Addiction activator on the outside, and Flash Wave there on the far outside. So it's Offshore Addiction, Flash Wave, and activator. Also coming into the picture of Velocity VR1, High Energy as well. Everyone off to a great start. Bumpy waters here in Cape Cod. A lot of rocking and rolling and flying going on, but everyone doing just fine here in Cape Cod right now. All right, coming into the picture there is Propco, 28-foot Warlock. Propco on the inside. And looking a little bit back there is SuperboatUSA.com, Typhoon, and Patriot coming up. As we said, bumpy waters here in Cape Cod. There's SuperboatUSA.com. That Superboat USA is throttled by Jay Muller. Edgar Simmons is the driver. 30-foot Superboat. SuperboatUSA.com. With Patriot on the outside. There's Typhoon and Offshore Addiction looking upfield. Typhoon and Offshore Addiction here in the early moments of this race. Bumpy waters, a lot of rocking and roll, a lot of flying as you can see. Highly competitive racing. Propco. On the inside there, as you can see, the wake of Propco. 28-foot Warlock. Michael Milligan is the driver. Steve Wessinger is the throttle man. It's Mercury-powered, 500 horsepower Mercury engine. Propco. Now the leaders in Factory 1, the national point standings. We got Offshore Addiction as your leader in points. Time for second, we got Flash Wave and Velocity VR1. In third place is Propco and Typhoon and Activator are tied for fifth in the national point standings, APBA in Factory 1. There is Typhoon up ahead on the outside, and there is Propco on the inside. Propco. A lot of flying. Early moments of Cape Cod Rendezvous. Third stop of the APBA Tour. Michael Milligan and Steve Wessinger, they're both from Waco, Texas. Nice jump there, Propco. There's Flash Wave, they're down. Offshore Addiction on the far outside. Offshore Addiction and Propco on the inside. Around the turn. On the inside, USA.com, SuperboatUSA.com. 30-foot Superboat, Jason Muller, Edgar Simmons. Edgar the driver, Jason the throttle man this time around. Their sponsor, the Village Green Hotel, across from the beach. SuperboatUSA.com. Special thanks to the Village Green Hotel for the fine accommodations for the SuperboatUSA.com team. Across from the beach, Village Green. Propco on the outside. On the inside at SuperboatUSA.com. A battle here in Factory 1. Propco and SuperboatUSA.com. Edgar Simmons and Jason Muller on Superboat. On Propco, it's Michael Milligan and Steve Wessinger. It's a Warlock against a Superboat. Around the turn, SuperboatUSA.com. As we go upfield, looking upfield, there is Typhoon Racing F129. Around the turn, straightening out now. It's Typhoon Racing, a 26-foot kryptonite. Activator is your leader, and Typhoon is in second place. As we get a little closer, we can tell you that on board at Typhoon Racing, we got Glenn Murray. He is the driver. Randy Schluss is the throttle man. They're from New Jersey. Mercury powered 26-foot kryptonite, as we said. This boat did have problems in Daytona, but took a second place in Marathon. Currently, it is in fifth place in the national point standings, tied with Activator. Typhoon Racing has raced for some 5 solid years, has about 60 races under its belt. Now, if it continues to run well today, it could move up from possibly fifth to third place in the national point standings. Typhoon has 10 first-place finishes. Typhoon. Glenn Murray and Randy Schluss on board. Mercury powered. You're watching race number 1 of the Cape Cod Rendezvous, third stop of the APBA Tour. Bumpy ride for these competitors today, as you can see. So the rundown is like this. Activator is in first place, Typhoon is in second, and SuperboatUSA.com in third place in Factory 1. There's your leader, Activator. F11 Activator. It's a 27-foot Activator. VJ Marr is the driver. Mark Schnepp is the throttle man. VJ from Pennsylvania, Mark from Coram, New York. Activator currently in fifth place in the national point standings, tied with Typhoon. Typhoon, of course, in second place right now, behind Activator. Mercury powered. B.J. Marr, the owner of Activator. That's airtime on the outside of Powerboat. Airtime. Now, if Activator stays where it is, basically, it will move up in the national point standings, up from 5th place where it is right now. Wild Bros on the outside. Wild Bros. Nice throttling job there by Mark Schnepp on board Activator. B.J. Marr, the driver. Rough water conditions today. Activator is your leader. Gino Marone, the throttle man. There's Boxer on the outside. On the inside, Chicks Beach Offshore, as we said, Lou Dickey, the driver, Gino Marone, the throttle man. Mercury-powered 29-foot fountain. Gino Marone, the owner of Chicks Beach, ran well in Daytona. Specialized racing on the outside of Chicks Beach Offshore. And Boxer on the far outside. Main sponsor for Chicks Beach is Aflac. Aflac offers supplemental insurances, including short-term disability, long-term disability, and cancer policies. The nationwide insurance company that started in 1955 and insures over 40 million people worldwide. It's a Fortune 500 company and the largest foreign insurer in Japan. Special thanks to Rick Krasinski and Aflac Wrap. Other sponsors include Shore Drive Marine, Little Joe's Autos, Chicks Beach Furniture and Fashion, and Amsoil One at MSN.com. A lot of hanging and banging here in Cape Cod today, as you can see. Chicks Beach Offshore, F-141. A lot of hanging and banging, bumpy waters here in Cape Cod. Let's go on board and listen to their conversation.
Cardi Silver's coming up on the inside. My side, yeah, alrighty. Trying to give him enough room. I got you. Go. He's on your side, coming in, right? Got it. Tally ho. Stay on top of this shit. You're doing a good job right now. You got a good rhythm going. No, we can't do much talking with all this shit going on. Race control, this is Turbo 6. That boat is down between 6 and 11, slowly drifting Tino. That's good. I got you.
Back to our helicopter shot. Chicks Beach Offshore. Gino Marone and Lou Dickey. 29-foot fountain. I feel we got some other competitors coming up now. Here in this Cape Cod Rendezvous, third stop on the APBA Pro Series Tour. Here's Dirty Cash. Dirty Cash in P3, David Braff and Anthony Perry. And right behind his team, TKO. 30-foot jump in Walter Collins and Andrew Luckner. First and second place in class. Walter Collins and Andrew Luckner, they're both from Massachusetts. "30-foot jump. Nice throttling there by Andrew Luckner. These guys are certainly getting a workout today with these bumpy waters here in Cape Cod. There's Dirty Cash on the outside and teams up and on the inside. A battle here in P3. As we said, they are first and second in class. So a battle here for first place in P3. Dirty Cash and Team TKO. Real racing here in Cape Cod. Superboat against the Suffolk. There's Specialized Racing coming up. Specialized Racing. Superboat. There's Activator, your leader in Factory 1. Typhoon in second, SuperboatUSA.com in third in Factory 1 class. BJ Marr and Mark Schnepp on board this 27-foot activator. They're cranking. There's Flash Wave in Factory 1. Now, Flash Wave was out of the race, but is back in it again. We understand that it might be possibly one lap behind. We're not sure. But Flash Wave is racing right now. David Rem is the driver. Jim Shura is the throttle man. Mercury powered 29-foot Warlock. Flash Wave currently in second place in points. Took a second place in Daytona. Now, the offseason brought a new family to Flash Wave. A new driver and world champion David Rem led his incredible talents to the team. David plans on a repeat of the 2001 World Championship in 2002. Jim Shura is the throttle man, as we said. He sees his second place finish in the Worlds become number one in 2002. By the way, David's father, Dwight Rem, is transporting the boat to 15 races this year. So a lot of races in store for Flash Wave. F148. Flash Wave and Factory 1. As we said, currently in second place in the national point standings in F1. Round the turn. Nice jump. David Rem and Jim Shura. A lot of rocking and rolling there, as you can see. A lot of flying going on because of these bumpy waters, but everyone is okay, and the teams are doing a great job with this unusual weather condition. Round the turn for Flash Wave, which, as we said, had some problems but is back in the race. There is Team Suffin, Team TKO, Specialized Racing, Powerboat coming up. And Typhoon Racing, Factory 1. SuperboatUSA.com. Patriot Offshore Racing, F177. It's a 29-foot fountain. Curtis Watkins, the driver. John Thames is the throttle man. Patriot Offshore Racing, you remember the other week that it was involved with Cropco in Marathon, Florida in that incident. And as you can see, Patriot has repaired its hull and is back racing here in Cape Cod. Curtis Watkins and John Thames, driver and throttle man. Mercury powered. A lot of hanging and banging today here in Cape Cod. As we can tell you, there are a number of Factory 1 boats that are out of the race, including High Energy, Full Tilt Racing, Offshore Addiction, and VR1. Also, a number of performance boats are out as well. So the weather conditions here, the bumpy water conditions, are taking their toll. But this boat right here, Patriot Offshore Racing, is running well. On board, Patriot Offshore Racing. Curtis Watkins, the driver. John Thames, the throttle man. On board Patriot. Curtis from Fort Lauderdale. John from Stowe, Vermont. Patriot Offshore Racing. 29-foot pounder. Extra lean on the outside. Extra lean, a 38-foot formula. Michael DeAndre is the driver. Matt Kaiser is the throttle man. Powered by Mercury, two 500 horsepower Mercury inboards. Special thanks to Foxwoods Casinos and Reebok. Extra lean. In Factory 2, we've got Sonic Racing, Total Marine Racing, and Harwich Concrete all out of the race. Other competitors in Factory 2 are Let's Play Racing, RNS Offshore, Snap-on Talking Tools, Extra Lean we saw a little while ago, Herbert Racing, and Team Donzie, which we're going to see in a little bit. Nice jump there by Extra Lean. Bumpy waters here at Cape Cod. This Cape Cod Rendezvous. Third stop on the APBA Pro Series Tour. Second race of 3 races. The one you're watching right now. Team Donzie now. Team Donzie, a 38-foot Donzie, Mercury-powered, two 500 horsepower Mercury inboards. Doug Valentine is the driver. Mike Stancombe is the throttle man. Team Donzi currently in second place in the national point standings. Took a second in Daytona, second in Marathon. Team Donzi. The Donzi factory-sponsored F2 is jointly managed by Steve Simon, VP of Sales, and Vice President Nick Miller, both from Donzi headquarters. This year, Donzi has made a real commitment to return to its racing roots. Number 1, Team Donzi in Factory 2. Mike Stancombe on throttle. Doug Valentine at the wheel, doing a fine job. In first place in Factory 2. Now, if Team Donzi continues where it is, it will definitely move from second to first place in the national point standings in Factory 2. Herbert Racing F280, a 33-foot Wellcraft Scarab. Keith Herbert is the driver. Joe Scrocky is the throttle man. Keith from Pennsylvania, Joe from Michigan. Currently in third place in the national point standings, took a first place in Daytona. Now, a unique partnership was formed with Keith Herbert, longtime successful driver, and Anthony Puccio, a local businessman from Sarasota, Florida, joined forces to take the Herbert Racing team to the 2002 APBA Offshore Tour. Now, Anthony's son, Anthony Jr., suffers from the debilitating disease, juvenile diabetes. And thanks to the selflessness of both partners, the Herbert boat now carries the logo for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Driver Keith Herbert witnessed firsthand the lengths Anthony must go to stay alive from day to day and pledged the season to this inspirational young man. Now, the two partners have not stopped with the visual display of support for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. However, throughout the season, the team will be splitting their sponsorship proceeds with a nonprofit organization hoping to help advance progress towards the cure of a disease that afflicts over 16 million individuals. Once again, Herbert Racing took a first place in Daytona. Checkered flag there. Currently in third place in the national point standings. There's Fury on the outside. Fury. Herbert Racing in Factory 2. Nice jump. All right, looking upfield there is Arness Offshore Racing, 38-foot Formula. Howard Richardson is the driver. Jack Storley is the throttle man. Currently in fifth place in the national point standings. Took a third in Marathon, Florida. And they are currently in second place in Factory 2 with a chance now to move up in the national point standings. Nice throttling there by Jack Storley from Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. Harold Richardson, the driver, he's from New Jersey as well, Franklinville. Freeze Frame Video Productions is now making available all races and past races as well on the DVD format. Watching race number 2 of the Cape Cod Rendezvous on the third stop of the Pro Series Tour. Of course, the next stop will be Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, next month. Looking forward to that. Freeze Frame Video certainly proud to be a part of it. In second place for R&S Offshore Racing. Cape Cod Rendezvous here in Cape Cod. First time this event has been here in Cape Cod. Of course, a lot of offshore racing has occurred in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Nice jump. We've seen a lot of hanging and banging here in Cape Cod because of these bumpy waters today. Harold Richardson and Jack Storley on board R&S Offshore Racing. There is Let's Play Racing there up ahead. 36-foot cigarette. Patrick Dunn, the driver, race number 2. We've got another race going on, race number 3, very shortly. And very shortly we'll give you the winners of this race as well as the winners of race number 1 and compile the national standings for you on the various classes. Of course, in race number 1, we had the Factory 1 and the P. And in fact, in race number 2, we just had Factory 2 and the Super V, single and twin. Of course, the story today was the very rough waters here in Cape Cod. All right, your winners in Super V Twin. We got Lucas Hall getting the checkered flag in first place, followed by US Quality Foods. Rodriguez Group bringing up third. Apparently, Pier 57 Stainless dropped off in the last couple of laps, delaminated and started to sink, but was taken out of the water. Lucas Oil getting the checkered flag in Super V Twin. All right, in Super V Light, it's Solarized in first place, followed by Fury in second and Extreme in third. Solarized, your winner in Super V Light. In Factory 2 class, Team Donzi all the way. number 1, followed by R&S Offshore Racing in second, and Snap-on Talking Tools in third place. Team Danzig getting the checkered flag in Factory 2. In Factory 1, Activator, your winner, followed by Typhoon and Flashwave in third place. Of course, this was race number 1 this morning. Activator getting the checkered flag in Factory 1. In P4 class, Specialized Racing, Superboat in first place, followed by Cool Running in second, Boxer in third, Specialized Racing, your winner in Performance Class 4. In P3, Team TKO Racing, sometimes known as Team Suffolk Racing, got the checkered flag in P3, coming in first place, followed by Dirty Cash in second place. Team TKO, Team Suffolk Racing, getting the checkered flag in P3, first place. In Outlaw P2, it was Obsession in first place. Obsession, your winner in Performance Class 2. And that is it, your winners in race number 1 and race number 2 of 3 races going on here at the Cape Cod Rendezvous. Of course, race number 3 coming up very shortly this afternoon. Highly competitive racing, great racing here at the Cape Cod Rendezvous in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Okay, now we're going to give you the national point standings in the various classes after this race. First off, in Factory 2, Team Danzig moving up to first place, followed by Harwich Concrete. Herbert Racing in third, R&S Racing in fourth, and Snap-on Talking Tools in fifth place in Factory 2. In Factory 1, Flashwave and Activator are tied for first place. Typhoon is in third, Offshore Addiction is in fourth, and Propco in fifth place in Factory 1. In Super V Light, we've got Vortec Extreme in first place, followed by Fury and Solarized. And finally, in Super V Light Twin, it's Beer 57, Hoods Quality Foods, and Rodriguez Group. And those are your national point standings in Factory 2, Factory 1, Super V Light, and Super V Light Twin. So exciting racing here at Cape Cod Rendezvous. Of course, the big story today was the rough water, highly competitive racing going on because of that. Now, before we go, there are a few people that we would like to thank. First off, the entire staff of the APBA. Also, Gary and Nancy Johnson for their fine camera work. There's Eve Brinker for her support. Our helicopter pilot, Mr. Ray Newcomb from JBI Helicopters. On behalf of Jeff Girardi and the rest of the Freeze Frame Video production crew, this is Vince Lipari wishing you a fond farewell from Cape Cod. See you at the next APBA race in Savannah, Georgia. Bye, everyone.